Many thanks for staying tuned. There's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, our guest is actually on his way to the studio, but you know how Lagos traffic can be, especially on a rainy day. But we'll be connecting at the moment with our guest via Zoom. Of course, he's in the car, and we expect some shaky shots, of course, because he's on transit. Of course, our guest this morning will be taking a look at the rift between Wizkid and Seun Kuti over Fela. Akintomide, who's also known as Tomide Mav, is a culture journalist and a music researcher. He's joining us via Zoom this morning. Thank you, Tomide, for joining in.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Let's start this way. For a lot of people who've been following this back and forth between Wizkid and Seun Kuti, they're not even sure the genesis of the whole issues. Because you are, of course, an authority in this field. You are into music researching, especially for Nigerian music. So take us through. How did this start, or what actually informed this feud? Where did it begin from?
Yeah, so I think the first thing we need to understand is that Seun didn't start this, Wizkid didn't start this. He came from the farms.
Okay.
So I think it came around after recently Wizkid got announced. We're happy, excited, celebrating, as usual. The fan base is excited. And the next thing, the conversation moved from just celebrating Wizkid's achievement to the fan base now trying to tie something else into it, to start a bigger conversation. So it went like, oh, Wizkid is big, there is no one even as great as this guy, not even Fela. It was a balance between the fans, and it went viral, right? And I think from Seun's angle, I think Seun felt like it was very, very important for someone to come out and really talk to these guys and really address the situation, because stanship in music is another sort of problem that we have in how we dictate taste, how we dictate who is better, who is good, who is this, who is that. So Seun coming out, I think he came out of anger and tried to set the record straight and say, this is who Fela was, this is what Fela represents. But he played into the hands of the group. That is why. He played into their hands. They got him exactly where they wanted him. He was on a 7-day long rant. Wizkid also got mixed in the whole thing. And I also think Wizkid also, they got Wizkid exactly where they wanted him to. They could have ignored, right? Because Fela is Fela. You do not come out a faceless mob, some online username, some people you don't know, talking behind keyboards, saying whatever they like. And apparently, these people are not even like school or parent enough to talk about Fela's music. They didn't experience the music.
Right.
These are young people. They most of them experienced Wizkid. They are definitely going to come and talk about the person they've experienced his music closely.
Right.
A lot of people heard about Fela by the word of mouth. What our parents said, what the media said, what the books on the shelf said, what our grandparents said. Just all these things, most of the things the young people know about Fela, they heard about Fela.
Right.
They did not really experience the man enough to know what he actually went through, or what the music really meant back then. Right? And we don't have a lot of people who are going to really come out to defend Fela these days, because I mean the Fela fan demographic has been damaged by age. A lot of people are older now, right? So who has the time to come out to dispel all these misinformation?
Okay.
And I think
Let me hold your thought and then just backtrack a bit. Like you said, this whole thing started from the fans of, you know, Wizkid and Seun. And then you did say that perhaps they could have ignored. But at the same time, you also felt that Seun needed to set the pattern straight. He needed to correct certain misgivings about his dad. But perhaps maybe he went about it the wrong way, and Wizkid also responded perhaps, you know, the wrong way. So let's again look at, as much as, you know, Seun wanted to speak to keep his father's legacy intact. However, where, you know, the generation were rubbing off on that, how best could he have stood up for what Fela stood for what Fela represented, without necessarily taking a swipe at the person or the personality or the achievements of Wizkid?
To be honest, I think everything about Fela, whatever needs to shut up the mouths of people who are ignorant about Fela's legacy is all these things are very evident. A large exhibition about Fela just got concluded in December 2025, right? This was like a 3-month long exhibition that focused on Fela, his legacy, his life. And I think it's one of the largest exhibitions that has ever been done about Fela. There are books, movies about Fela. There are all these things about Fela. Fela just got the Grammy for I need to be correct with the right title for this. I think there is a Hall of Fame award at the Grammy Fela is about to receive. The focus should have been on all that. The focus should be on all that, because what I really think is the internet is going to be the internet.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to, the internet is going to be the internet. A lot of people are going to say whatever they are going to say. Seun, how many people is Seun going to attack or try to correct online? Tomorrow he talks about, oh, Wizkid is doing this. And I think one of the problems that we need to maybe talk about or touch is that someone like Seun feels like someone is funding the Wizkid FC. And it makes sense for him to feel that way and address that particular fan base, because they keep coming out, speaking against this person. That means if they keep coming out to speak against this person, it means that the artists they support, the artists they represent, is also giving them a go-ahead, gives them support, right? And when someone like Wizkid, who has said severally that he is very, very inspired by a great man like Fela,
right,
I think it's wise to also be very, 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 it is important to also be wise in how you address or go about situations like that. If you're not coming out to tell your fans that you do not support how they move or how they talk about certain things online, then maybe you shouldn't involve yourself in conversation where people will start to tie you together with certain things or certain behaviors that do not really represent what you stand for. So it's all messed up, but we should also understand that Wizkid himself spoke out of anger, saying things like, okay, I beat past your papa, and things like that, would give the public a different interpretation of what he thinks or how highly he regards Fela. So, and another thing that I think the public is not going to see or pay attention to is that sometimes language semantics, when we say your papa, you are not really talking to someone's father directly. Yeah, it's
just a street language. The street language.
Yeah, but because these are public figures, the conversation is a sensitive one. I don't think there is a way to really maneuver or go about that kind of statement without people attributing it to you disrespecting Fela. And I think that was the part they all like let their emotions get into them.
Right.
Emotions, ego, all these things. Fela will always be Fela. No one can feel his shoe. Wizkid is an all-time great in contemporary Nigerian music. End of discussion. But Wizkid is not Fela.
Definitely, definitely, and he can never be Fela, because even Wizkid himself, I mean, he respects Fela so much that he's paid homage to him many times. He's done so many things in his honor, and so one would have thought, at what point did anger push him to say all of those things that he said? And again, if you look at Seun, a lot of people will also say that in defending his father's legacy, he probably also didn't go about it in the in the right way at that particular point in time. But when things like this have been done and several things have been said, how do we now come back to make peace or to find, you know, to strike a balance? Because as it stands, you know, a lot of people, for some reason, felt slighted that Wizkid spoke, you know, badly about Fela and, you know, what Fela stood for. But then in your own opinion, I mean, just trying to explain, minutes ago, you said maybe it was just, you know, lingo in usage. But what does this really mean, especially for this generation?
Well, it's very important that this generation learns to respect or honor the legacies of people who have actually done something or impacted our generation or even the whole country as a whole. Fela's music represents revolution, represents social change. Wizkid himself has also impacted Nigerian music into a space where it's globally recognized. But at the same time, if for peace to reign, I don't feel like there is war going on somewhere. But for Seun and Wiz, the reconciliation can be handled in the background without the public's involvement, of course, because I think it's very, very important for them not to even involve the public in their reconciliation or how they make up. But it is very important the public learns to respect their legends. And also the other public figures, people such as Wizkid, the people in the contemporary space, should not enable their fans. When we see weird attitudes where fans or stars come online to disrespect other people's family or just to say things that are uncouth, to defend their favorites, I think, and their favorites ignore or laugh with them, I think that is the point where they start to enable these bad behaviors.
Right.
But it is very important for them to start curbing these bad behaviors. I think when we see more of these, we are likely to see fans who have respect or regard for other creatives or for other people. They don't need to bring someone else down to prop another person up.
Right.
So I think that's the way to see these things, because if we keep enabling the bad attitude of fans, we still have a long way to go. The other people who are getting offended will keep thinking that this weird behavior is supported by these artists or funded by these artists. And we don't want this kind of narrative.
Right. Let's look at, you know, the background of these two individuals. Thankfully, both of them are from the Yoruba origin. And we know that the Yorubas have a thing for respect and, you know, for legacies as well. So when you look at the individuals involved, I mean, a lot of people have also, while all of these were going on, I think another sister of Seun came out to speak back at Wizkid, to also call out his father, and, you know, already making a mess of the whole thing, family-wise and things like that. I know you said at some point in time the artists need to caution their fan base or, you know, their fans when things like this do go on. But with families, friends, relations, very close compatriots, what will be their role in ensuring that, you know, this does not further escalate?
Elderly people should behave like elderly people. Elders should behave like elders. I think a lot of the family members who spoke out against Wizkid or tried to lash out, I think they spoke out of anger. And it is very important, especially as elderly people, to sit back sometimes and just examine the situation before, like, speaking up or getting oneself involved in these conversations. Things like this it was unavoidable. The moment it got to even Wizkid saying things like your papa, like I said, the public would take whatever they were going to take out of it anyways. It already crossed the boundary where I think the Kuti family could also just come out and say something else back to Wizkid and make a reference to his own father. So all that, I think they were unnecessary. I still think they are unnecessary, highly unnecessary. There was no point in, especially after the whole back and forth with Seun, the sister didn't need to come out and join in the whole back and forth. He made the whole thing complicated, and he even made the Wizkid FC to regroup and time the whole thing and say, oh, now the whole family is coming out. And these are very disrespectful people. These people, most of them don't have their profile pictures online. They don't care how much you're feeling, how much your feelings are. They don't care how these words hit you. They just want to say whatever they want to say. And it is left to you to use your discretion, right, to know if you want to really fit into the troll or fit the troll.
Right. Because
one thing is, if you fit the troll ones, it's like you've given them something to always hold on to. They will keep coming. They'll keep coming. Right. And now, from just this single incident, Seun has even made himself like an easy target. Next time he says something, you are likely to see him. Whether he refers to Wizkid or someone else, you're likely to see these people under his comment section.
Right.
Still, bringing back the same situation, running it back and trying to just disrespect or insult him. Because this is what situations like this is what they bring. And personally, I feel like for someone like Seun, who is also a global artist himself, a very, very talented and brilliant artist himself, I'm sure he should be media savvy enough to know that there are some comments to reply to give attention to.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So when we look at, the generational shift or the generational change that was seen, especially now, would you say that our celebrities, do we expect too much from our celebrities, forgetting that they're also human? Tomide, did you get my question?
Celebrities are human beings. Yeah, yes, I did. We are all human beings, and it's also why I've been saying that most of them responded how they responded, because everyone has their breaking points. You don't go on a 7-day rant about a man and expect the man to just keep quiet. You keep mentioning his name, talking about him on the internet, trying to get his attention. I mean, you ask for it, he would give his attention then. So I feel Wizkid is human being, Seun is human being, we are all human beings. Someone else would maybe respond another way to a situation like this. Maybe someone else would have resorted to maybe violence. Someone else would have just kept their mouth shut. Someone else would have just, I don't know, maybe go into the studio and make a diss track. People would go people would approach these situations in different ways. And I think at the end of the day, we are all human beings. People want to snap a picture with celebrity. Celebrity is not feeling like it because he's also a human being. A celebrity is not smiling or giving you money or doing giveaway. He's also a human being. So we also need to understand that all the emotions that we feel when someone says something bad to us is the same thing celebrities feel. And I think it would be very bad of us to expect them to just take everything on the chin. Give them a punch, they should just take it, give you their second cheek for you to slap again and smile.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. They are human beings, and human beings are going to always be human and respond like one.
Right. So knowing full well how much Wizkid himself adored the late Fela Kuti, and the fact that we even had YK Yeni Kuti also admitting to the fact that Wizkid for so many years, was part of Felabration. He was one who really adored their dad. And so when this happened, and at the time that Wizkid was going to respond, could he have just faced Seun for who Seun is and probably left out the man, Fela, from this conversation?
Can you repeat your question again?
All right. So I said, knowing how full well that Wizkid adored the late Fela, and with the level of respect that he also had for him, and also Yeni Kuti admitting to the fact that for so many years, Wizkid was part of Felabration. So when this started and the rant for 7 days was, on, and it was time for Wizzy himself to respond to Seun, couldn't he have just faced Seun, who was actually poking him and left out his dad from that conversation?
Oh, well, he faced Seun in a sort of way, but I think Fela, there was no way Fela wouldn't get into that conversation because the basis of the whole conversation, even from Seun's angle, was Fela. Seun was going on about, Wizkid is, a lot of people are trying to call themselves the new Fela, the young Fela. And I think for a while now, Seun has always spoken out against the people who think they are the new Fela because he believes that people, they are the new Fela, have zero idea of what Fela went through.
Right.
Have zero idea of the things Fela faced, of the things that make, of the things that made Fela's music, right? So Seun feels like it would be a disrespect if you've not been crucified. Crucifixion is a lot of work.
Right.
Or if you've not gone through what Fela,
The kind of activism he went through.
Fela, yeah, like Fela did a lot of things. Fela did a lot of things. His mom even got punished for what he did. Fela sacrificed his career just to speak out against people. He just speak out against, the corrupt powers, the bad men in power, in government, in politics. And I think Seun really dislikes the idea of people who don't even think about the plight of their people coming out to say they are the new Fela, when all you do is just appear all glammed up, looking all shiny in front of camera, and just talking about women or how you are popping bottles in the club. So it feels like if you are someone like that, you have no right to come out and say you are the new Fela. You have nothing in similarity with Fela. And so there was no way Fela would not come up in that conversation after all Seun had said about people coming out to be the young Fela. And I think the conversation also, people comparing Wizkid with Fela, like, who is greater? There was no way Wizkid also wouldn't say, okay, Fela, because if you look at the post Wizkid made, it was like, okay, he had to used the language of the conversation. He said, okay, Wizkid is bigger than Fela, okay. Oh yeah, I big pass Fela, what your papa want to do, right? I think he also like repeated the statement of the troops.
Right.
And I don't think Wizkid would, I don't think he outrightly meant to disrespect Fela or speak badly about his name.
Right.
I think the person he was going for
Was
to attack was
Seun. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's leave this conversation here now. But Tomide, as we wrap up this conversation, do you think that there are a lot of work going on the ground to find, an end to this feud, or do you think it's something that might continue for days to come? Did you get my question?
I got the last bit of it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I said, okay, that's fine. I said, do you think that there's a lot of work on the ground to find an amicable resolution to this, or do you foresee this continuing?
I can't speak for Wizkid, I can't speak for Seun. I think just the conversation on the internet every week, this is going to die down.
Okay.
People are going to forget about it. But what's going to remain is there will always be a division, right? Some would always think Wizkid disrespected Fela, and that is how they are going to keep seeing the whole situation. Even when Wizkid gets in conversation, or maybe he does something that involves Fela, some people are likely to come back in the future and yeah, you said this a while ago, why are you coming out here to... And some people are also going to keep attacking Seun for going on Wizkid.
Okay.
And always remind him that you are this, because some people already believe someone like Seun is only riding on his father's fame and glory.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a complete truth.
Okay.
Because Seun himself is well accomplished.
Okay.
He has performed in prestigious stages across the world. So at the end of the day, if they are going to squash their misunderstanding or beef or whatever it is, I think they are going to do that. They are grown men.
Right.
They should find a way around that. But if there won't be any reconciliation, I think, well, it is what it is. In situations like this, people have said things. And when people say things, it's hard to take words back sometimes. Right. And we just have to give things time for them to find their middle ground. Okay. So as a journalist, I can't speak for the family, I can't speak for these people, but I just know that whatever has happened. The news is going to die down. Something else is going to happen a week or so from now. Okay. But Fela's legacy is intact. Fela is good.
All right. Thank you so much, Tomide, Marv, for finding time to be with us, even though the Lagos traffic didn't allow you to get into the studio this morning. But thank God for technology. At least you were still able to pass on the message and be part of the conversation. Thank you so much for your time on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Of course, we've been speaking with Tomiwa there, and he's helped us weigh in on this conversation this morning. And like he said, it is what it is. And I know that Tomiwa just drove into LTV. I know that. I can see that. So thank you all the same. So I mean, it's fine. We can actually still see you and take photographs so that it will show that you actually got here. Okay, thank you again, Tomiwa. And like you said, I'm sure that it will fizzle out soon, and something will happen again tomorrow, and the fans will latch on onto that again. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll return. Adebimpe, hopefully her voice is rested a bit. She'll be able to launch and tell you where Joy is at the moment.